The division is ours. I don't care what Houston did yesterday. They're going to go get their Letterman jackets again. The Indianapolis Colts are 2-6 against the Titans since Pat McAfee came up here and did his wrestling announcement. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, they haven't had back-to-back winning seasons since I was a senior in high school.
What's up, Titans fans, and welcome to another episode of Titans Global Podcast. I'm your host, Maximus Titan Fan, and as always, with me is my cohort Link.
Absolutely. Good to see everybody. Hope everybody had a great holiday, enjoyed it. Ready to get back into some football. I know I've watched a lot of other teams play, and I'm excited to watch the Titans play. Been kind of missing it a little bit.
Yeah, it was an interesting day today. I'll say that. I was hard to pay attention to work after 3:00, if I'm being honest. I kept checking my phone. My phone kept going off. But that happens when football's going on and I'm at work.
Yep.
That's why I don't work on Sundays. But we're not going to talk about past things unless they're in reference to the new game, because we're here to talk about the new game, the preview of the game versus the Panthers. One of the worst football teams in the NFL.
Yep.
Although we match up with them pretty evenly.
Scarily similar, looking at the numbers.
Smidge better. Yeah.
Yep.
That's pretty much it. So we're going to kind of break down the numbers. We're going to talk about the rookie quarterbacks for a little while. And then we're probably going to give our game predictions and get out of here. If you're watching us, join us on YouTube. That's where we want to see you. It helps us out a lot. Like, subscribe, throw a comment. It's great. So we'll start off by talking about where these two teams rank as far as their offense and their defense. The Panthers passing offense 28th, the rushing offense is 29th, and their overall offense is 31st. Like I said, one of the worst teams in the NFL. What the heck? I didn't write down their defensive. That's hilarious. The Titans offense passing 27th, rushing 19th, overall 27th. So we got the 31st offense going against the 27th offense. And our defense is basically ranked 22nd overall, 21st in passing, 17th in rushing. So we, like I said, we just got a smidge on them, but not a lot.
Yeah, the one that stuck out to me, the points per game, Panthers are 16.3, Titans are 16.8. I would expect this to be a pretty hard-fought game. I do think the Titans have a slight edge on defense going against, the Panthers and their offense. Thielen's been kind of iffy, but he's definitely their number one guy. I know they're talking over there if he's kind of aged out or not. You do get Sean Murphy-Bunting back this week. News is he's going to go. That'll move McCrary back inside, more than likely to the slot position. It'll be interesting to see if they put Murphy-Bunting or if they test out Christian Fulton on Thielen. My guess is they'd go Bunting, but he is going to have that soft cast on, so I don't know how much that's going to limit him. But yeah, I mean, it'll be an interesting matchup for sure, but he's definitely going to be their go-to this game. So finding a way to kind of limit him, and if you can stop him, there's not a whole lot of other weapons that are a huge threat. But yeah, shutting him down that's going to be one of the main points for sure.
Yeah, the Titans are no stranger to receiver issues, and the Panthers are having just that. Adam Thielen has 729 yards and 4 touchdowns on the season, and he's their leading receiver by like 500 yards.
Yeah, in front of DJ Shark. Yep.
Yeah, and I think he has like, what, 260?
Shark has 229.
229. All right. So, yeah, exactly 500.
Yep.
So that's amazing. Lee bad.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I did get the Panthers defensive rank. I just had it on the other side of the paper. Their defensive rank is 6th in the NFL. 6th.
Yep.
They've got the 6th ranked passing, 24th ranked rushing, but 6th against the pass in the NFL. So really, it's going to come down to our offense against their defense, or their offense against our defense. It's really to whether our defense can hold their offense off for long enough for our offense to go down there and score enough points to get up on them.
Yep. Absolutely.
That's really the only way our defense plays good.
Yeah, and I think red zone efficiency is going to be huge for the Titans. If you get there, you got to make it count. I was looking to see what their red zone efficiency was. Thought I had it pulled up, but I didn't. But that's going to be a huge thing. Is first of all just getting down there, not going 3 and out, having those long sustained drives, being able to run the ball. This is definitely going to need to be one of those possession time battles where the defense is able to rest while the offense goes down and has those drives. Carolina is pretty good on third down defense. The problem is they're not getting teams to those third downs. They're giving up the big plays on first and second downs. That's going to be a huge thing the Titans need to take advantage of to get those yards early, get ahead of the sticks, and limit the penalties, not put yourself in a position where you're having to go 3 and out, have those short drives. That's going to be huge.
Yeah, the biggest advantage the Titans have going into this is it's at home.
Yeah.
That seems to be, again, the only time we play good is when we're at home.
Yeah.
So hopefully we will play good and win this game.
Absolutely.
I have a theory that if we don't win this game, we won't win another one for the rest of the season.
There's not a lot of there's not any easy ones left. I mean,
there's not any easier than this.
No, I mean Carolina, I wouldn't even say they're an easy team. I mean they do have talent, but yeah, I mean this is as good as it gets for the Titans to be able to come into Nissan Stadium and get right at home. This is kind of their chance.
Yep, and they got to. I mean, they just really got to get after Bryce Young.
Yep.
Don't let him get outside of the pocket. Contain him inside the pocket, and he's easily beat. You could see that.
Yep.
That's another thing I really wanted to talk about was the comparison between him and Will Levis. Because he was the number 1 overall pick.
Carolina gave a lot for him. I mean, they gave up first and second last year, first round this year. Who was it? DJ Moore. They let him go. I mean, when you look at these teams, and I want to get into the matchup head to head with you, but when you look at these teams, I will say the Titans have a lot more promise going forward. The way that they went and got their quarterback, the way they got Levis, to be able to set him up for the future. That's one thing I kind of fault Carolina with is you spent all this getting Bryce Young there, but then he's got nobody around him.
And won't have for a couple of years.
Absolutely not. So I do want to make that point before we get into the head-to-head matchup. Looking at these teams and, 5 years down the road, I definitely have a lot more faith in the Titans organization and Will Levis than I would put into Carolina at this point.
Yeah. Well, there's just a difference in management, I think.
Yeah.
Goes a long way there.
Yep.
But like you said, man, they gave up the kitchen sink to get Bryce Young, and they don't really have anything to pair with him. They had a great wide receiver, but they ended up giving him away to get Bryce Young.
Exactly.
So it doesn't really work out in their favor. And I believe it was, did they trade the Bears for that?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did.
Yep.
And the Bears are going to be in the top 5 pick, it looks like.
Yeah.
And they're going to have another top 5 pick because Carolina's. Can you imagine how,
Yeah.
Chicago's not going to have an excuse next year.
No.
Sorry.
And not to talk draft, but I mean, if you're Chicago, you're thinking, hey, we got to look at these quarterbacks. I mean, Justin Fields is Justin Fields, but you got a lot of talent that it looks like is going to come out in this draft. And yeah, I mean, if they put the pieces together, they could end up being a scary team. But for Carolina to sit back and look at that and watch who, Chicago potentially goes and gets this year, that's got to sting a little bit for sure.
Especially if they go get Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
That's really got to sting, man.
Absolutely.
Because you're like, well, there was your perfect pair right there,
Absolutely.
man.
Yep.
And yeah, could you imagine DJ Moore and Marvin Harrison Jr. on the field? Dude, yeah, they just be burning secondaries. All you got to do is throw it up.
Yep. What could have been, though.
Yeah. Because of this issue, I think it's probably more than that, but because of this issue, Bryce Young has not been very successful this year.
No.
He's, I think, 198 of 319 attempts, leads to a completion percentage of about 62%. 1,600 yards, it's a 5.3 average, and about 187 yards a game, 9 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
Yeah, the 8 interceptions is a big one to me. He's given up 3 pick sixes in the last 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
He is kind of like Levis, the pressure is getting there. Again, not behind the best offensive line. The difference you're seeing, and there's some balls that, hey, I get it, maybe should have been picked off from Levis, but Bryce Young getting back there, getting a little flustered, defense is getting to his face. He's not making great decisions. So if you can do that this week, put some pressure on him, maybe get 4 pick sixes in 4 weeks. It'd be nice. If this defense could get in the end zone, that'd be a great day for him.
That would be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the biggest difference is strength.
Yeah.
Will Levis is just, I mean, if you look at him, he's every term I want to use is not a good way to say it, but he is built very well.
He's superhuman-esque.
Yes, he is. He is very stacked for a quarterback.
Yeah.
It's weird, but I mean, you look at Bryce Young. I mean, he's not unathletic looking. He's not stacked though.
Yeah.
And that's really the difference. I mean, when you're going down, Will Levis still has, even without his footing, still has enough in his arm to get it probably 15, 20 yards. And that's why he attempts those throws with people wrapped around his waist, because he is strong enough to get the ball out there. And he's done it before. And he's just trying to do something because, not really a whole lot else going on.
Yep.
So I don't really fault him for those almost interceptions, especially because they were almost interceptions.
Exactly.
He starts getting picked off 3 times a game, I'll change my tune, I guarantee you.
Yep, absolutely.
But, it's clear both these quarterbacks, again, we're talking about how mirrored these teams are. Will Levis is 73 for 124. His completion percentage is about 58%. Mm-hmm. 857 yards. His average is 6.9 yards per throw. 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The rating's quite different too. It's 89 for Levis and 74 for Young. So, Levis has the slight edge there, but it's really because of the touchdown interception ratio. And yeah, he didn't get a couple touchdowns for a couple games, but I mean, you look at the averages are just better. It might not look like that after it's spread out of the whole season, but right now that's what it looks like to me. It looks like Will Levis is slightly better than Bryce Young.
Yeah, agreed. And Bryce Young, another stat that stuck out to me, 36 sacks on him. So, if you look at Levis's numbers, he's getting the ball out. He's making those decisions to throw it away, to hit his checkdowns. Bryce Young, if you notice, he kind of freezes a little bit, kind of that deer in the headlights look. That's a big one to me. That's just, I don't know if that comes with, playing for so long, or, maybe Levis is kind of used to bad offensive line play. Not to throw shade at Kentucky, but that just to be able to have that vision, that feel of who's around you and who's coming, to be able to get rid of the ball a little bit quicker.
If you look at some of the top defensive linemen around in the NFL, most of them, well, I won't say most of them, but a good chunk of them come from the SEC.
Yeah.
I think personally, I know Bryce Young played in the SEC, but I mean, Alabama has such amazing talent.
Absolutely.
Their offensive line, I'm not going to say it's better than Carolina's, but I mean, going up against the competition
talent,
that they are,
exactly.
yeah,
The
at
higher
that
level
level.
competition at the NFL.
Exactly. Thank
Yep.
you. That's what I'm
Yep.
trying to say. And Bryce Young, I think once he got hit a couple times by
Yep.
some of them big boys, I mean, I think anybody that messes with you, man.
Yep.
You know, when
Absolutely.
I went from being the biggest kid on my middle school team to being, because I didn't grow. I'm a tiny guy. I'm like 5'8" and about 145 pounds, soaking wet. So I'm a small guy, but I was the biggest kid on my middle school team. I was the smallest kid on my high school team.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
when I got to high school, there was a big adjustment.
Yep.
Because, you know, very first thing coach did was put the biggest kid out there, linebacker senior, and he just plowed me, ran me over like a steamroller, and took my breath away. I mean, jacked me up, dude. And my coach got down in my face and was like, "You sure you want to do this?" And I mean, some guys I would say probably think, no, I really don't. I don't want to get hit like that a lot, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying anything's bad with that. Hey, you're just not built for football, because that's what football is. Football is getting hit a lot.
Yep.
You take shots, you give shots. I mean, that's just what it's about. That's why Derrick Henry is so strange, because he delivers more shots than he takes, and he's a running back.
Yep.
It's the only person that I know in defenses look at him and go, "Man, I just don't want to play that guy."
Mm-hmm.
And that says something for him. You know, that's why he is such a phenomenal running back in the NFL, because people just don't want to hit him.
Yep. It's a business decision. I mean, to go up and hit him, I mean, it's a business decision.
Yeah, man. Dude's like 6'4" and 250 pounds, and he runs like 21 mile an hour. I think he was clocked earlier this season or in the preseason or something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
I would not want to get hit by that man.
Nope. But to build on what you said, you know, going back to that, I do feel like you've seen a better adjustment from college to NFL with Levis than you have from Young at this point. And I know, again, it's so hard to judge quarterbacks, especially rookie quarterbacks, behind lines that are this poor on both sides, on Carolina side and on the Titans side. But, you know, looking at what they've given you to this point, I do feel like Levis has made a little bit better adjustment. I feel like he's becoming more comfortable. You know, even with the misses, it seems he's learning from it. Like Vrabel said, you know, he doesn't make the same mistake twice, and that's kind of big for me. But yeah, I mean, you know, I think he's got more potential to grow. I think with Bryce Young, you know, he's going to be a good quarterback, but I like Levis at this point. I don't think I would trade Young for Levis. And that's crazy to say, you know, looking back at the draft when it was all going down, but yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm taking Levis over Young, if I'm being honest.
All right, so yeah, you bring up the draft and stuff, and I like to bring up the fact that I did not like the Levis pick when it was first. Oh man, I hated that. First show I had to do after the draft, I was dreading it so bad, because I just had to eat a bunch of crow and say that Will Levis is our quarterback, Mr. Mayo, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
People had shot that at me a lot, and I was like, nah way. But I have to say that I've been impressed by him, and I like him now, and I think he's going to do pretty darn good in the NFL. And I think, honestly, the reason for me, the theory is that if you look at Kentucky last year, and you look at Alabama last year, the budding talent that was on Alabama and the lack of talent that was on UK.
Yep.
I mean, it almost conditioned Will Levis to be on a crappy Titans team. You know what I mean? I mean, their line was porous, but they had a good run game.
Absolutely.
And Rodriguez, you know, and Alabama just had everything, man. I mean, even their third running back is a good running back in college.
Yep.
Even their second down, or even their secondary linemen are like starters on most of their team. Probably better than the starters on UK.
Yep.
I mean, no other besides Rodriguez, nobody got drafted from UK. Nobody.
Yeah. That's a good point.
That's a lot of picks, and nobody thought anybody else on Kentucky was worth it.
Yep.
And so, like I said, it kind of conditioned him to be ready for not such a great Titans. I mean, it was almost a perfect fit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even
And
more white and blue.
well, and on top of that, he's faced this adversity before. I mean, he's, with Alabama, and I mean, credit to Alabama, but they don't have a lot of adversity. I mean, they're a winning program. They expect to be playing for a national championship every year. I mean, and if you look at the quarterbacks, I mean, if you look at Mac Jones now, I mean, Tua's doing a great job and Hurts is doing a great job, but let's remember they did face that adversity. I mean, they were fighting for a starting spot at one point. So I mean, but looking at some of these quarterbacks that come out, they have all the talent in the world, but when things don't go right in the first part of the season, I think you start to see the flaws kind of come out. But like Levis, on the other hand, I mean, he's been through this. Um, he's learned to kind of motivate himself when there's nothing to play for. He's still going to go out and give it 100%, and I think that's a huge deal. And like you said, it did. I think it prepared him for this Titans team.
Yeah, man, I really do. I agree with you there. I think that's why Drake May is probably going to be better than Caleb Williams, in my opinion.
I don't disagree at this point.
I mean, I think we'll be having the
Yeah.
same conversation
Yeah.
in a year from now, talking about Drake May and Caleb Williams.
Yep.
Just throw that out there. We'll see how it ages.
Yep.
But really, other than Adam Thielen, there is no like super big scare on the Carolina team. Their running back Hubbard, I think he has like 109 yards or 108 yards average per game, which isn't bad, but I don't know.
Hubbard is actually, so he's 104 for 408 yards. He's averaging 40.8 yards a game.
Yeah, that was it.
So yeah, not
109 carries.
Yeah,
is what I saw earlier.
Yeah.
Not 109 yards per game. Boy, that is not good at all.
No, you're good. But yeah, I mean, not a huge run game threat. I mean, they're, let's be real, they're going to come out and try to pass the ball. I mean, with the Titans secondary being a little bit banged up, and with how they've kind of struggled the last few weeks, I think I would expect Carolina to come out and take some shots early. I think they're going to test this secondary. I think they're going to kind of see, if they showed up and who showed up and how healthy they showed up. But yeah, I would expect a pretty pass heavy, at least early offense from Carolina coming out.
Yeah, and I mean, if we have to, just double cover Thielen.
Yeah.
Like I said, the next wide receiver under him has 227 yards or whatever you said earlier, 229 yards.
229. Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, that's just wow.
Yep.
I feel him though. We were there last year. I mean, Woods was the only one on our team that had any kind of receptions, and everybody else was just terrible.
Yeah. Again, a lot of similarities, but I also feel like the Titans are going to have a similar game plan. They're going to have to come out throwing. Carolina's really, I kind of feel the same way as I felt about us at times. They don't really have that pure identity of we're going to make you beat us passing, we're going to make you beat us running. I mean, they're kind of okay a little bit at everything. But I feel like to set the momentum, I feel like Tennessee also has to get that pass game going. And I feel like that's going to be a big decider in this game, is who can figure that out first. Can Bryce Young get in the pocket and get comfortable and start hitting those shots? Or, vice versa, can Will Levis come out, hit a big shot early, get that confidence behind him, and then just, go on route for another big game like he had against Atlanta. So I feel like, the offensive line of both teams is going to play a big factor of which quarterback can get comfortable first and start getting down the field.
Well, another thing I wanted to talk to you about tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I've been thinking a lot about what you said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my neighbor, by the way, was not happy at all with that. He was like, I didn't like that at all. And I was like, yeah, I know, man, but look at the numbers. I mean, numbers don't lie.
Yep.
There's analytics for a reason.
Yep.
With that said, Tajay Spears should have at least 50% of the carries, if not more.
Agreed. Absolutely.
And I would like to see a game where Tajay Spears had the heavy carries.
Yep.
Not that I want to take the king out of the game or anything.
Right.
I'm just saying, with the way that the production's going right now, Tajay Spears probably needs to be the more featured back.
Yep. I agree.
I hate saying that.
I think, but like you said, I think he gives you that better chance for those momentum swings, those shot plays, those bouncing outside and getting 15, 20 yards. I mean, I just feel like with what he offers right now, he can get you going better than Henry can.
Well, I think you get a more honest defense.
That's true.
I mean, when Henry's out there, they know, 70% chance it's going to be a run, 25% chance it's going to be a screen pass.
Yep.
Or play action. Either way, all they got to do is blitz the quarterback hard.
Absolutely.
And pay attention to the flats. That's it. Yep. I mean, you got to cover 10 yards. That's easy. So, man, I just don't like it. My tongue feels weird saying it. But scheme-wise, as a coach and as someone who has drawn up a lot of scheme,
yep,
it really makes a lot of sense to start Tajay Spears over Derrick Henry.
I think so too. I know, and it hurts to say. And hey, I think Henry is 2 yards away from, is it 9,000 career, which puts him in top company. I mean, he's, again, he's done so much for this Titans team, and I have the utmost respect for him. I mean, I will always be a Derrick Henry fan. I just, with this team and the way that it's built at this point, I'm with you. I think you need to start getting those defenses honest. Get them out of those 8-man boxes. Make them run 20 yards downfield to go cover a guy, because you've got Levis who can hit him. I mean, it gives you a better opportunity to win.
I mean, let's just be honest here. In a shuffle, a 20-yard shuffle cone drill, Tajay Spears is going to beat Derrick Henry every single time.
Absolutely.
And if you're trying to set up a screen, or you're trying to get a cutback run or something like that, you cannot honestly sit there. No one can honestly sit there and tell me that Derrick Henry is a better option than Tajay Spears. And I absolutely hate saying that, guys. I don't like the idea of it. But I'm just saying, from a coaching standpoint and from a scheme standpoint, getting a honest defense, stop that rush run all the time, rush the running back on the way to the quarterback or whatever they say. Quit that crap. If you have Tajay Spears there, it does, because he can get out of the backfield like that. He can be 15 yards down the field, 1.2 seconds throwing the ball. I mean, it just makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, Frankie. But it just makes sense, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. And going into this game, there's going to be more movement on that offensive line. Jalen Duncan, word is he's going to get the start at left tackle. Raiden's going to move over to right. Yeah, I mean, again, you're shuffling a line. You're still, at this point in the season, you're still figuring out pieces. And I guess for this team, that's okay, because you're seeing what you've got. But again, just not a lot of time for this offensive line to mesh and get comfortable. So you're still going to be facing those rushes. Again, NFL coaches watch tape. They know right now we're going to blitz the Titans because it's what's worked. It's what's got them beat. It's a lot of it, at least. So you're still going to see those pressures, whether Henry's in the game or not. But like you said, when you need that cutback, when you need that quick screen, when you need that shuffle play, I mean, that Spears is your guy. But yeah, with the movement at the offensive line, I think that's going to play a factor. But I think Spears could be a key in this. I think he could go for a big game. I do.
Well, another good point is if you look at Andre Dillard, he's not exactly a mauler.
True.
He doesn't exactly push men around.
Right.
Radens does an okay job of it, but he's more of an athletic type left tackle than he is a push you around kind of guy. Jalen Duncan is not.
No.
He is a big man.
Yes, he
He's
is.
almost the size of Jeffrey Simmons.
Yep.
And he can push people around.
Yep.
And I think that's what they're thinking. A couple times we've seen, since it's been so successful against our left tackle, we've seen the nose tackle swing out to left side. Multiple teams have done it since the Steelers kind of exposed us on that.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't had an answer for it yet. And I think Jalen Duncan at left tackle is our answer for that.
I think it could be. I'm with you. I don't want to speak too early because I spoke about Dillard when he came in. Could it get any worse? And then Dillard's here, so I'm not gonna go for it completely. But I have a lot of hope in Jalen Duncan.
Well, the thing that really worries me is that Dillard's healthy, and not knocking anybody or anything like that. It's just clearly you're not it, dude.
Yeah.
No offense to you. It's not a personal thing. It's just a football thing, and you're just not it. You're not left tackle quality.
Yep.
The Eagles were right. So we need to rectify that. And if Jalen Duncan is our best option, I don't really care at this point. I was rooting for Radens, but I don't really care at this point. I just want to see somebody cemented at the left tackle spot. So that we can start getting some kind of cohesion at our offensive line, because right now it's not doing much. And Jalen Duncan is, we saw earlier this season, is a heck of a run blocker.
Yeah.
So if he has anything in the pass blocking game, seems like that's the choice. So yeah.
Like I said last week, I think he could be a huge part in this line moving forward. I think he could be a big piece of this when they do start to rebuild that line and get some more talent in there. So far, and I know he's seen less action, but him and Skoronski have been the bright spots. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy to think,
they didn't have any pressures or sacks.
Yeah, as bad as it is, you at least have something to build on. And I feel like once that cohesion is there with the right pieces, I don't think we'll be talking nearly as much about this offensive line come this time next year. I think it'll be a much more moot point this time next year.
Yeah, I agree. I really wanted them to go after a center this year. There were some really good centers that I was interested in, but they didn't, and that's okay. We are where we are now, and like I said, I don't see it as a huge bad thing to move Jalen Duncan to the left side. I know we need cohesion there, but I also know that this is what this season is for: finding out where you fit and who's our best players in different spots.
Yep.
It's just basically like an elongated preseason.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. As bad as it hurts to say it, you're absolutely right, and that's, again, not to go back to it, but the Henry Spears debate, it's the same way. You know what you've got in Henry. You know what he is at this point, and I'm not even saying he's lost a step. I still think he is a top-tier NFL running back.
I agree with you. I'm not saying that either, but
but at this point, it's like a preseason. You got to see what you got in some of these guys, and I feel like it's a good way to do it, to let some of these younger guys kind of take over and see if they really want to be here, see if they got the moxie.
Now, I will say that Spears would not get the primary carries in the red zone.
No,
I would change
and I
that.
don't want him to. No, and
I was going to say, let me be clear on that, because I don't know. There are schemes and parts of the game where Derrick Henry is going to be more efficient than Tajay.
Absolutely. Yep. Red zone, being a red zone threat and being a short yardage threat. If it's 4th and 1, I don't want to see Spears. I want him in the locker room. I want him nowhere near that. I don't want to see shotgun. I want to see you taking Derrick Henry and running him up the middle and pushing, have those offensive linemen, whoever's there, to be pushing behind him. He is still that short yardage and red zone threat. I don't think that should change whatsoever.
Yeah, and honestly, oh man, I'm gonna get the stat for the next show, but you would be amazed at how many times he rushes the ball and how many times he gets hit behind the line of scrimmage.
Oh yeah,
it's like 1 in 3.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
I believe that. Yep.
Oh man, and he's still one of the most productive backs in the NFL.
Absolutely.
That's insane. So I'm
Absolutely.
not obviously I'm not saying bench the guy. I'm
No.
just saying that, like, schematically, especially in the early downs of the game, maybe Derrick Henry might be my featured back in the second half of the game, but the first half, especially if we're in the lead, but the first half when we need to score points quickly, God, I hate to say it, Spears is our best
Yeah.
option.
Yeah. And
God,
hey, let's get a 20-point lead and we'll run Henry all day long. We'll give him 35 carries at that point. But that's what it was going back to is, what are you trying to do if you're the Titans? I mean, is your goal to get Derrick Henry yards or is your goal to win football games? And that's what it comes
exactly.
down to. Yep. But so building on kind of all that, if going into this one, if you had to pick kind of an X factor player, could be a receiver, could be a running back, could be anybody. If you had to kind of give an X factor player going into this, what's your gut telling you who's going to kind of step up?
I think I don't know if you because we've been talking. I don't know if it was pregame or if it was actually during the show, but I think Jeffrey Simmons probably has a standout game.
Yeah.
This I think him, Tart, Autry, this weak offensive line.
Yep.
I think we finally see some of him and Arden Key. I think Jeffrey Simmons is going to have an amazing game.
Yep. I agree. I think he's kind of due for that. Seems like people are kind of forgetting who he is. And I just feel like he's got that one coming of remember me. I mean, the frustration he's showing with the losses and, not being able to get things turned around on the defense. I just feel like he's kind of due for a breakout game. So I'm with you. I agree. Jeffrey Simmons on defense. Offense, man, I really want Kyle Phillips to be the guy. He didn't get a lot of play time last week, and I'm not, they were limited on snap counts. I think it was something like 39 offensive snaps. So, I mean, I know they were limited, but still just didn't see the field a lot last week. I'd like to see him come back and, get in that position to make some deep shots happen. I mean, he's got the speed. He's shown other than punt returns, he's got the hands. I feel like he could have a breakout game because defenses still have to pay attention to Hopkins. I mean, he's still a great receiver. He's caught most of what's come his way. He's still the top receiver for the Titans right now. You've still got to respect what he can do in that position. So I feel like one of these other guys, whether it be Phillips or Moore, could step up. And I hope it's Phillips. I think he's
Well, that's the thing. They're using Moore, and I think they should be using Phillips.
Yep.
Absolutely. I like Moore. Don't get me wrong. I mean, if you look at his targets per catch ratio, it's one of the best on the team. I mean, he has, I think, the best, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
But at the same time, he'll have like one reception a game.
Yep.
So either he's not getting open enough or he's not getting enough looks. Either way, obviously Will Levis likes Kyle Phillips. He was very productive in the last 2 games before last week. So I'm with you, man. I'd love to see Kyle Phillips really step up, get more than 11 touches. I think that's what he got last game.
Yeah, I think he's got the ability to change a game. I think he can be that home run shot. We've seen that with Hopkins this year, especially in that game against the Falcons, kind of Levis's first game, his breakout game. But yeah, just, even the screen passes, just getting the ball in his hands, in Phillips' hands, to kind of let him go make a guy miss and do something. I think he could be an X factor for sure. So yeah, mine's Phillips on offense, and I'm with you on Simmons on defense. I feel like those are the ones to watch this week.
Yeah, man. I'm all for it. I would like to see Chig do something besides drop balls and block.
Yeah, I'm not out on him yet, but it's not looking great. I mean, and I think he's in his own head a little bit. I think once you're in that position and you've dropped this many in a row, you're always thinking about it. And I feel like he just needs to kind of let loose, and he's going to need a get right game. It'd be nice if it was this one. But yeah, he definitely needs that big play to kind of get his mind out of those drops, I feel like.
One of my really good friends was a wide receiver, and he used to tell me all the time, playing wide receiver is a lot like playing cornerback. And they tell you to have a short memory.
Yeah.
But it's really hard.
Oh yeah.
It's one of the hardest aspects of the game. And he talked about it all the time.
Yeah.
That was a big thing for him, that he always had, trying to get over the slump of dropping a pass. That's right in your hands, just like the guy in, I think it was Arizona. Or no, was that 49ers? Might have been the 49ers.
I don't think remember. It was the 49ers. No, you're right. Yep.
I was gonna say, man, he put it like perfectly in his hand, and he just dropped it. Just didn't like grasp it or something. I don't know. I feel bad for that guy because he's probably never going to live that down. It's just like Ryan Tannehill. Yeah. I mean, I fully believe that AFC Championship game ruined him as far as his ego. Because, like I've said a million times, Joe Burrow is a perfect example of it. Your quarterback has to have like a chip on his shoulder. If your quarterback's not on some level cocky, he's never going to be elite.
Yeah.
Period.
Yep.
I hate it about most of the good quarterbacks because it's annoying. But, if you're going to win at this level, that's what you have to play like. Peyton Manning is a great example of that because he was elite and he was demanding of his players.
Yep.
Yet he wasn't he was still nice about it, is the best way I can say it. And a lot of people like, Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, some of the big quarterbacks that you hear, Troy Aikman, were not very nice to play for.
Yep.
So, it goes a long way when you've got a chip on your shoulder and you're a nice guy. Will Levis seems like he's that kind of guy, but I don't know. To me, Ryan Tannehill does not seem like that kind of guy.
No, and I think, again, you go back to that playoff loss, and I mean, he admitted himself he went to therapy over that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
and that's tough. And I was kind of excited to hear that in a way because it's like, okay, there's something going on, and you're working to get it right. And unfortunately, I don't think he ever figured it out. And I still don't count him out. I think he could still start in this NFL, especially watching some of the quarterbacks play on these other teams. I mean, look at the Jets right now. I mean, you're telling me Ryan Tannehill couldn't start on the Jets right now. But anyway, I still feel like he has a chance in this league. I just don't think it's here. And I got nothing but respect for the guy. But yeah, it hasn't been right. It just hasn't felt right.
I mean, I wouldn't be upset if he went somewhere else and had a good couple of years.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't care.
Absolutely.
I don't think it's very likely. I think his time has passed. And I think, honestly, that's what held him back in Miami.
Yeah.
Because he showed flashes of greatness in Miami. That's why we took him in the trade.
Yep.
But when he got here, and he had A.J. Brown, I also think that kind of messed with him a little bit too. I mean, when you lose your number one target, that guy that makes you comfortable to throw him to throw one up, even in one-on-one or even two-on-one coverage.
Yep.
When you lose that, I mean, your security blanket.
Yeah.
And you have a horrible game in the last game you played for 6 months.
You get a little gunshot.
And you got to sit on that. Yeah, man. Yep. I mean, because you got all that going on. You know what I mean? And then right before the season starts, right at the draft, they drop A.J. Brown. And I mean, that has to be like a complete psychological. I mean, I can't imagine it.
Yeah.
And to play on you have to have such mental toughness. I give it out to him. But again, if you want to be at this level, you have to compete at this level. And if you're not producing, you got to go, man.
Yep.
And you're not producing anymore. Not for us. I mean, you might produce for somebody else, but you're not producing for us.
Yep. And best of luck. I mean, again, but yeah, I mean, I think I don't see that with Levis as much this early. I mean, he's taken a lot of shots and faced a lot, but he hasn't got gunshot. I mean, he's still gonna take his shots, and that's what I like about him. I mean, I don't think anything phases the guy. I mean, he'll go out there, almost throw an interception, and then go right back against the same defender 30 yards downfield. I mean, he just doesn't care. He just says, you're gonna have to beat me, and I love that about him. There's a lot, coming out of the draft. It was this guy's emotional and he almost a little too much, but I think this is the perfect spot for him right now. I wish he had a better line, but as barring any type of injury that happens between now and then, I think it's good for him to kind of go through this and figure out what he can do and how to overcome the adversity he's facing right now.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, you gotta be able. I mean, somebody with as much football intelligence as somebody like Will Levis, who obviously is football intelligent because he knows our entire offense and runs it very well. So he's got a level. Somebody with that kind of intelligence can look at a team and go, "This isn't a very good team."
Yeah.
And I'm still doing pretty good.
Yep.
What could I do if I was on a really good team?
Yeah.
Or if my team was just better?
Yep.
So I mean, you got to be thinking about that in the back of your head as a young quarterback in this position. I'm sure Vince Young thought the same thing coming into a 3-win team. So, it is what it is, and I've been impressed with Will Levis so far. Honestly, I've been impressed with all our rookies this year so far. I don't think we got a bad rookie in the whole draft.
Hats off to Carthon. I mean, he came in here and he changed a lot in 1 year. I mean, let's be real. I mean, if you told me this was the team we'd have at this point last year, I'd be like, that makes no sense. Will Levis, that he going to be starting for the Titans football team, but hats off to him. I mean, he had a great draft class. I think that these are guys that are going to be here for a while. I think that he wants to keep these guys around and kind of develop them. And I mean, hey, he was player personnel at San Francisco, and look at where they're at now. So I've got a lot of faith in him for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely going after the homegrown way to build the team instead of the free agency way, which, I'll be interested to see what he does next year in free agency with all that money. This year he was able to revamp our entire line, almost our entire line, and sign, you say what you want, but a top 15 wide receiver in the NFL.
Absolutely.
So he's able to do both of those things with like $15 million in cap space.
Yeah.
And next year he's going to have $100 million and more draft picks.
Yep.
I'm extremely excited for the future. And Rand Carthon is solely the reason for that.
Yep.
Plus, I think Vrabel obviously will do better with a better team.
Yeah. And it was said today, he's not, they're saying he's not going anywhere. I know people are pointing back to the malarkey stuff, and I don't see him not getting another year or two with some talent. I just don't see it happening.
I don't really either. Like I said, I think it was the last show, but it would be pretty strange for the organization to hire Rand Carthon, who is supposed to be Mike Vrabel's pick of GMs, just to turn around and fire Mike Vrabel a season later.
Absolutely. Yeah. That says it all right there.
Yeah. I just don't, unless something drastic happens. Now, if Jeffrey Simmons and Tajay Spears and Will Levis and all these young studs are talking to Amy and they're like, yeah, we don't like, Vrabel, and we think he's trash and blah, blah, blah. We don't believe in him. Well, all right, now you've got a conversation.
Right.
But until something drastic like that happens, I don't think
he's not.
I think it's a lot of hot air. But hey, whatever. Just keep talking about the Titans on national media. It's fine. He might lose his job. He might get traded to the Patriots.
If the Patriots want him that bad, you're doing something right. I mean, come on.
Exactly. That's my whole thing. If the Patriots want him that bad, why would we give him up?
Yeah, no, I'm not with all that talk. I think he's gonna be here for a while. Now, I mean, hey, the
people getting loopy thinking about the John Gruden trade, and look, man, that's That's a bit of a difference there. And not saying that Gruden's some great coach or anything like that, but he did win a Super Bowl pretty darn fast and then retired with a very hefty winning record.
Yep.
No wonder they wanted him so bad. You know what I mean? But they gave up 3 first-round picks. There's no way we're getting 3 first-round picks for Mike Vrabel, especially if he ends the season with 3 to 5 wins, which is my prediction. So I just don't see it happening.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm with you. And like I said, and I'll say it, I'll shout it from the rooftops, winning fixes everything. And if they go out and win the next 3 games, nobody wants Vrabel to go anywhere. I mean, it's tough when you're not talking about wins and when you're talking about what's wrong with the team versus what's going right with them. I mean, people need somebody to blame, and I'm not saying there's not blame to hand out on this coaching staff. I feel like they can figure it out, and I think we will see some changes, but I don't think Mike Vrabel is going to be one of them.
No, man. No, like I said, just go back to the draft. Although it didn't age well, the video of them waving and smiling at the cameras.
Yeah.
Because, everybody was, and they're watching the broadcast in that little thing. So, they hear everybody talking about the fact they didn't take a wide receiver. So, that's exactly what they were doing.
Yep.
They were going, we don't need a wide receiver. And not that they didn't need a wide receiver, but clearly they have a path that they have already pre-planned out. And that's what they're going with.
Yep.
And Vrabel's obviously a big part of that plan.
Yep. Agreed.
So,
absolutely.
Let's do our game predictions.
Okay.
And then we'll roll out.
You want to go first? You want me to hit it?
I've been terrible with my predictions so far, except for the last game, although I was way over on our score.
Yeah. I had a feeling about them last week. They didn't pull it out. I'm going to go with them again this week against a struggling Panthers team. You're averaging 27.3 points per game at Nissan. I'd really like to see us get over 20. So I'm going to go 24-10 Titans.
Oh, you're in my dreaded number. I told my friend, I told my buddy, I was like, there is no way I'm picking 24 again. I don't care. I don't care what happens or how confident I feel in the Titans. I'm not picking them to score 24 points anymore. Either it's over 24 or below.
Yeah.
No 24.
I'll change it.
No. You're good. You're good.
No, I'll change the look. That picking 24 for me, it'll be a good thing. That's what we'll call it.
There you go. Yeah,
exactly.
Change the history behind the 24 pick. Yeah. I just can't pick 24. So I think obviously we'll do well. I don't think they have any kind of run game. So like you said, it's going to be all passing. Mm-hmm. I think we're looking at like a 21-17 Titans win.
Okay. Yeah.
They're undefeated at home. So why don't they, why shouldn't they win against the NFL, one of the worst teams in the NFL? I won't say the worst, but one of.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there we go. I think we win 21. Lang thinks we win 24.
Yep.
And we'll just hope that ages well.
Yes, sir.
Man, if they score 24 points, I'm going to be like, you're going to be hearing from me on Sunday.
That's good. That's good.
I don't care if the other team, Carolina scores like 28, we score 24.
As long as we hit that 24, yeah.
I'm going to be like, bro, how all right. I don't get to pick it anymore, but you can pick it as much as you want.
There you go.
All right, man. So if they don't know, let them know where they can find you at.
You can find me at Link Rogers on Twitter. I got the same name on Facebook. Look me up. I love to chat. Anything Titans. Hope to talk to y'all.
Right on. And as always, you can find the show on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, which is where we prefer you go. TikTok, Instagram, basically everywhere. And if you want to find me personally, Maximus Titan Fan, you can find me on Facebook or Twitter under the same name. As always, we love you. Thank you for hanging out with us. Have a good night. Tighten up.
Tighten up.